Here we're going to teach the use of the equivocation hitch as an improvised rappelling technique. The equivocation hitch is a tool that's used by climbers, more commonly I'd say alpine climbers and rock climbers, and it also gets used with canyoneers a lot. Canyoneers call it the macrame typically, and canyoneers like to use it because their goal is to leave no trace in a canyon, so they'll use this technique to go around a tree or a boulder. They don't have to leave a piece of webbing on that, and they can reduce the amount of rope that they're pulling over the soft sandstone, thus cutting down on any impact on the rock in the canyons. For us in climbing, it can be a tool we can use and as a way just to have another way to get down. And so in alpine climbing, I'd say we use it most oftenly when we, in the alpine, we don't have bolted anchors typically, and we don't want to leave a lot of material up there because we want to leave no trace as well. And so we might use the equivocation hitch to go around a horn or a flake or a boulder, a chalk stone, maybe a tree if there's a tree up in the alpine where you're at. And this is a way to improvise that rappel. In rock climbing, I would say we don't use it as much because we tend to have like bolted rappel anchors with rappel rings that really facilitate a rappel. But there's times where you might run into like not having a nice bolted rappel anchor with rings and you're left with just a bolt. And I think of an example of a time I used this where I set up a climb, but I only had one bolt and I backed it up with some gear, but then I wanted to get down and I didn't want to leave something on that bolt. But I also didn't want to just down free solo it, so hence I used this method to get down safely and not leave anything. And so it goes like this. You take a bite of rope and you push it through, in this case the bolt hanger, or you go around the feature that you want to go around. So you might take this and go around a tree or a boulder or around a flake, whatever feature. In this case, the bolt hanger is the feature I'm going to use to demonstrate this. And then you push a bite with one strand and you pull the other strand. Then you push a bite with that strand and pull the other strand. And here we're just alternating, pushing bites and pulling the opposite strand. And we do this about 5 times. And now we have a load strand that we're going to rappel on. And this is going to be my pull strand. So it's really important then that you set yourself up on rappel on that appropriate strand. So here, I set myself up on that strand. If I were to try to rappel on this strand, it's going to pull the whole thing out, and then hence this also gets sometimes known as the daisy of death, because if you do it wrong, it could be deadly. When I use this in guiding, I'll often in the alpine lower people down a section of cliff, and I'll have them on this strand, and I'll make sure that the strand that I'm going to rappel on is the same strand they're on, because if they were to slip or walk away, I don't want them on the pull strand because then they could release the whole thing. And then I make it really clear when I use this that, hey, I tell other people don't touch this pull strand, and I usually have it with me and make sure I don't accidentally pull it either. And then what you can do is you can rappel as you would. You can use an extended rappel with a backup, but when you get down, you're going to pull this and alternate pulling, and then there's just this little bite that's left, and hence that little bite is all that's left to pull around, so hence we didn't have to pull a bunch of rope over an edge of rock or around a tree or whatever it might be that we were rappelling from. So hence it really cuts down on the impact on the rock, and that's why canyoneers really like it. And for us in the alpine, it makes it so that we can rappel and not leave anything. We don't have to leave a carabiner or a sling or something like that. And of course, whatever we're rappelling on, we just need to make sure it's solid. So that flake or chalk stone or a tree, that it's solid, that's what we're trusting your life to. So that's the equivocation hitch, also known as the macrame by canyoneers, or if you do it wrong, it could be the daisy of death. So there it is, a little improvised rappelling technique for you.